network.com. So we're fast approaching on E3. We've got a representative going out there.
That's right.
This year, which
You're
is
welcome, Kooky.
which is really exciting.
Yay, Cookie.
And I'm curious, what kind of expectations do you guys have surrounding E3? Because I mean, it was the biggest video game showcase of the entire year, which, I mean, PAX is starting to nibble away at that, and we've also got, private unveiling events.
I was going to say, to me, that's kind of what started to really take over a lot of the spotlight, the private ones.
Yeah, the Nintendo Directs, your Square Enix conferences, stuff like that.
I don't know if it's something that's just came, as I've grown older and more in tune with the industry, but for me, E3 was never like this big contest of companies. It was, for me, it was just like, all right, what cool headlines are coming out, this year, right? But I think it was not last E3, but was it the one prior to that where it was Sony who had basically crushed all of Microsoft's with all of their sudden
Sony
reveals?
Yeah, Sony came out and was just one-upping everything.
I think that was the first time where I really realized no, this is a boxing match between these different companies and stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, and in the one sense, it does seem like a celebration of the best of gaming. But in another sense, especially and I think what it takes is it takes following the narrative of how games are released, how hardware is released, and if you're paying more attention, like you said, Robbie, to the industry, then and if you're taking your cues from the industry and what game companies have in the works and what they haven't talked about yet and the way that they talk about them and the sizzle reels, all of that, you're right, man. It totally is a boxing match. It's a competition. Who will win the day?
Who's got the biggest penis?
That's right.
Overall, I have no idea. I honestly, I'm not sure what to expect. I know that we kind of have some hints about the different things that are coming out. For me, I'm looking at it a little bit differently, and something that I've really been yearning for, which I made this realization just these past few days. There's a lot of stuff that I'm excited about, that I'm interested in, right? But there is nothing, not a single thing on the horizon that I'm really chomping at the bit for.
Really?
Right? Look, Mass Effect FF7, sure. Do I want to play them? Absolutely. But I haven't seen enough of them yet to really be fuck, I need to get my hands on that right now.
Really?
In fact, the thing that's even close to that is Pokemon Go, and that's not even really...
Yeah, but a lot of times and I don't know how often this happens to you. This does happen to me. Sometimes it's a new IP that does it, something that's completely new.
Sure.
I remember
when was the last time we had a new IP that was really good?
Overwatch!
Are you stuck? Is this camera frozen? His camera might be... Are you guys okay?
Stroke.
What's going on here? I'm terrified.
Okay,
stop. Jesus. No, but I mean, Overwatch didn't get a big E3 bump, though.
But no, same thing even with Overwatch.
Hang on, I've got an answer for you. I've got an answer for Chris here.
Okay.
The last time I was super hyped out about a new IP that was announced at E3 was Dragon's Dogma. When Capcom announced Dragon's Dogma, I saw that and I was like, that is the shit. And everyone kind of wrote it off. No one else was hyped for it. And I bought that release day.
I have it. I played a little bit. Great game.
It's an awesome game.
But did it get much... I mean, after the fact, did it get much buzz? Or was it just kind of
It took until, I think, the DLC for people to really give it a shot. But, I mean, Dragon's Dogma did well. They I think they're doing a sequel to it.
Oh, that's good.
So, there are times where I've been very hyped off of a new IP that's shown off at
well,
at E3.
I mean, even with something like Overwatch, that's something that's been in the works now, and they've been teasing for at least 2 years, and it wasn't really until the last month that I got hyped for it. Even Fallout 4, it wasn't until the week before that I got hyped for it.
Man, that's the way to do things, because waiting for something awesome to come out sucks.
Okay, sure, but still having that thing on the horizon and being able to get excited about it, that's something that you don't get a whole lot. And I want to get that way about Mass Effect 4, but they haven't really showed us anything concrete.
Also, you're not waiting on the resolution of a plot line. You're waiting on something entirely new. Andromeda is going to be something entirely new.
That's true.
So, if you had a plot line that you were waiting on, I think, if it was Mass Effect 2 and you were waiting on 3, you'd be like, I want to hear about Mass Effect.
That's
just
possible.
because you don't have a series
I want to hear about it.
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah,
and I think what I want is, and from anything, it doesn't have to be about Mass Effect, I just want something out of E3 that when I look at it, I squeal in the same way that all those fucking
FF7
millennial FF7 toddler piece of shits did when the FF7 remake was announced.
Yeah.
I want to squeal like that, but for something legit.
So,
why do you gotta talk about Nika like that?
Because she's stupid.
So rude.
She's dumb.
So, Chris, I think this one is aimed at you.
Okay.
Do you think that this will be the year Nintendo unveils new hardware?
Do I probably, because I'm pretty sure we've heard new stuff about
we talked about something recently in regards to the next Zelda that when it comes to Zelda and the new hardware, one would be released at the Nintendo Expo, whatever it's called, and then the other one would be talked about at E3. And weren't we trying to decide which it would make most sense for it to be where?
Right. And the thing is I can't remember if Nintendo came out and said that they're not going to do hardware this year at E3. So that may have been a statement that they made.
Really?
And remember,
but I feel like we've heard so much about the NX recently that
not
they
even
would be
the NX. What about the last episode? We talked about
the handheld. I think
that's not a handheld.
That's not a handheld.
They're coming out with something that's not a handheld, but it's not a console.
Here's the thing. I think that handheld is actually just an extension of the NX. I think that they're going to announce the NX and that handheld at the exact same time.
That you play with your feet. It's a feet held. It's not a handheld.
Just
boo.
Stop.
Boo.
Stop with your bad puns, like the Division pun.
Your bads are any worse.
Your bad jokes are multiplying.
There was something at you.
God damn it. So is this going to be the year, though? Is this the year of new Nintendo hardware?
God, I hope so, because the Wii U is just such a garbage system.
And they've basically said, we're done with the Wii U. We're not making games for it anymore.
All right. Here's my...
They have to be talking about the NX. They have to.
Here's my concern, though, because we're not going to hear anything about the next PlayStation or the next Xbox, right? Okay?
No, we know what we're going to hear about that, and it's the PlayStation 4.5. And we know what Microsoft has to say about that, because they've been like, oh yeah, we're totally going to release a new system. Fuck you, Sony. I hate the fact that you're making us release new hardware. Yeah, we're going to upgrade our console too. It's totally going to be awesome. We're going to be competitive, and fuck you, Sony.
Whenever Sony and Microsoft release their systems, because it's always a race, those two, right?
Absolutely.
There's always another company that has something that's released just before, and it always just gets blown into oblivion.
And
Dreamcast.
The first one out of the gate is always the worst one, it feels like.
There was the Dreamcast. There was the Wii. I didn't even realize that the Wii U was a new fucking system for the longest time.
We realize you're special, so it's okay. We forgive you.
Or the Wii was just that badly marketed.
You're not wrong.
Okay.
But
it was terrible. It was just a bad system. All around, it was a bad system.
Maybe
financially, it was just...
showcase Zelda and then talk a little bit
I'm
about
sorry, they'll what? They'll do
showcase?
what?
Showcase.
They'll showcase it?
No, but the thing is that
they'll show it off a little bit.
Well, we already know that the new Zelda is going to be for the next system is.
Right.
And I feel like they have to talk about the system before they can talk about
Zelda. Sure.
Yeah.
And since Zelda is specific to your system, it also makes sense to talk about that at your specific expo.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, right. Absolutely. So, I really do. I want to see new hardware from Nintendo. It's time. Their old hardware is deader than a doornail. And, just Nintendo fanboys could use some love. We know that it's going to be a bit of a down year for Nintendo and Microsoft. We know that they're mostly going to be focusing on VR. And that's the other thing, is that with Sony and Microsoft focusing so heavily on VR, does that give Nintendo an ability to position itself against Sony and Microsoft by saying, look, we're innovative, but we're not going to fuck around with VR.
We're not that innovative.
But it is largely, not untested, but, the games for it are still very rudimentary. They're very much in development, and it's going to be it's not going to be like...
It's going to be Wii bowling.
Well, no, it's not going to be like hardware, as it gets older, you increase the textures and the polygon count and everything like that. This is an entirely new method of interacting with the game environment. Like, you have to appreciate that, and so it's going to take some very necessary growing pains for the medium to be able to take root and find its popularity, if it even does.
Yeah.
So with Sony and Microsoft really focusing on that aspect of the industry, does that give Nintendo a promotional ability to position themselves as like, hey, we are focused on the games
and not VR?
Yeah.
I feel like whenever like a company tries to be super innovative with like the touch screen or motion controls, it always just falls flat on their face.
And I think what he's saying is, since Sony and Microsoft are focusing on something new,
instead of Nintendo trying to compete in that environment,
now Nintendo basically kind of slips into the void that needs to be filled now.
Yeah. I think so. I think so.
That'd be a good move.
It would be very smart from a promotional standpoint. I really do think Nintendo needs some goodwill. Nintendo just needs some love. The Wii U fell flat, and it's not that gamers have no love for Nintendo properties. It's that the hardware is such a pain in the dick to deal with. I would rather own any other system than a Nintendo system.
Actually, hold on.
I will buy a Xbox One needlessly before I would buy a
They're
Nintendo.
on sale right now for $299.
I know.
Really?
I heard that. I heard you say that. But the thing is, I mean, you can play. The crossover of games between Sony and Microsoft is huge, and this crossover between Nintendo and Sony and Microsoft put together is not so huge. You know what I mean? Like, it would make more sense. I would have more games available to me buying a Nintendo console. I don't want to buy a Nintendo console. I just don't.
Preaching to the choir.
So I'm looking at you.
You were saying something,
buddy.
Oh, right. I was gonna say I might be on board with VR because Mr. Jack brings up a really good point in the chat. He says there's already VR porn being made. Maybe VR has something going for it.
Apparently, VR porn might be shown off on the E3 floor. Kooky, we have a we know. We know. Yeah, we know where you want to.
we have a priority listing for you.
That's right.
Yeah. Now I want to know, for this VR porn, is there like accessories I can do for certain attachments?
Absolutely, without a doubt, absolutely. I can guarantee you that there is.
Okay, then I'm definitely on board.
Okay,
I shall rise to the occasion.
So, are there any expectations from Sony and Microsoft? Like,
Can't believe it's come to this.
Do you expect anything?
It was a long, hard road.
Oh God, are you done? Have you got it all out of your system?
I know it's getting a little bit hairy in here.
I don't know. There might be some left. No, I don't think I can squeeze any more out.
God damn it. There are, there are probably some expectations for Sony and Microsoft to show up on the hardware level. Do you guys have any expectations, or do you just think that we're going to see them show off what we know that they already have in development? See, now I think that this also puts Sony in a unique position, because the Vita fell very flat, and if Sony was going to revisit their handheld game, now would be a time to do it. Because the 3DS is almost at the end of its lifespan.
Yeah. Honestly, look, I'm not really looking forward to any kind of VR stuff. I haven't seen
I'm not either.
a whole lot of anything that's really been all that impressive.
No.
I mean, as far as like some of the immersive stuff, that's pretty cool. But when it comes to actual gameplay things, I don't know. I think it's going to still be a while before we get
What if
the same type of level out of those that we have out of our current stuff.
What if you could play Overwatch in VR?
But that's the thing. How
porn, Overwatch porn in VR.
Well, no, they're outlawing all the Overwatch porn. That's not...
Yeah. Oh, okay. They're outlawing it. Okay, I can't get it no more.
Blizzard's just gathering it all up for themselves.
They have a FAP room.
So I'm not really looking all that forward to the VR. And until you mentioned the idea of maybe them revisiting a handheld, I wasn't really looking forward to, I think, really anything specific from Microsoft or Sony. I mean, they can surprise me, absolutely.
Well, now, I mean, Microsoft's never entered the handheld market.
That's true.
We've never seen
They're
any.
not gonna enter. Do you think they might enter it?
No, I don't think.
Okay.
I don't think. But I do think that Sony might. I mean, man, I guarantee that they're still stung from the Vita. But the biggest problem with the Vita was from a development standpoint. That it was such a powerful system that the development requirements would take so much that it just wasn't worth developing solely for the Vita. And what I think would be interesting is if you can push hardware, mobile hardware, handheld hardware to the point where you wouldn't have to develop an entirely separate game, but you could in fact downscale current games in terms of texture and polygons and make it be able to be compatible on a handheld. I think that has some pretty compelling ideas right there. Sony seems like they would have the ability, or at least the hardware to be able to do that. Would they be able to manufacture it at a profit? I don't know. It would be really dicey for them to get back into the handheld market, especially not knowing what Nintendo's going to do next since they rule the fucker.
Yeah. It's really hard for me to get excited about specific hardware because it's always the games that sell me on stuff rather than the other way around. Yeah, exactly. I never really muddle around too much with that. So, when it comes to, what Microsoft's coming out with or the stuff that Sony's going to be talking about with the 4.5, I don't know. I can't really get behind any of that. But when it comes down to what possible games we might be seeing, that is what's going to sell me really one way or the other. Because honestly, up till right now, I have no desire to get an Xbox One or a PS4. There's no reason for it.
Yeah,
until FF7 comes out.
Nika was saying largely the same thing about the Vita last week, that there was never a title that compelled her to buy the system. So, I mean, what is a title that you could see being announced, or at least
the next Elder Scrolls?
Really?
Yeah,
that would push it. For
I don't know if it would. Yeah, actually, yeah, it probably would. I mean,
that's surprising.
Skyrim was the first one that I really got into. I played Morrowind a little bit, Oblivion a tiny bit, but I wasn't really into those. And again, Skyrim was another one of those games where I got hyped and decided to buy it the day it came out.
Now, this is really particular for me. I'm very curious about this. Why specifically would that make you buy a console? Is there a difference in what you've played of the Elder Scrolls? Do you feel like there's a difference between the experience on a console and the experience on a PC? Because
right, no, if it's on PC, fuck the console. Never mind.
I was going to say, because Fallout 4 did that. It moved console units, and I do think that an Elder Scrolls game would move console units, but with everything being on PC as well.
Let me rephrase. That's something that I would get, I think, hyped for.
It's a title that you would get hyped for.
Yes, that, but it's not going to necessarily move me to buy hardware.
Okay. All right, gotcha. Well, what is there an exclusive? Let's say if there was a title that was an exclusive.
Mass Effect is only on PS4.
Yeah,
Mass Effect.
Is that true?
I don't think it's true.
No, I'm just hypothetically.
Is there
a Mass Effect? Obviously, the FF7 remake, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Really? You would?
Look,
Kingdom Hearts,
I'm not into any of that ancillary stuff. As far as I'm concerned, none of that exists. The only thing in my mind is Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2. And I had a lot of fun with both of those. So, Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and 3 is the next one. None of the shit matters.
I've heard that the Final Fantasy VII remake has a lot in common with Kingdom Hearts. Maybe you'll actually end up liking that a lot more than you think.
If I do, then awesome. If I don't, then I told you, motherfuckers.
So just kind of going back to the Chrono Trigger thing, like that's a game that I feel like it would lose something by adding any kind of a different battle system. And I think I said the same thing about FF7 for years. But the thing that's always that sort of like has been the justifiable reason to me to going back and doing FF7 is that even for the hardware on the PlayStation and compared to the other games in its contemporaries,
it was shitty for its time.
Its contemporaries, yeah.
That's actually one of the reasons why I advocate against it, because it had less going for it visually than competition at the time and still blew them out of the water.
Right, yeah. Chrono Trigger, you can't say that though, because even for its time, it was visually stunning, and it still today looks.
There was a headline that I actually thought that I had left in there, but I Am Setsuna got a release date, and that's supposed to be like a spiritual.
A spiritual successor to Chrono Trigger.
With that. Are you hyped for that? Are you excited?
I am.
It looks gorgeous.
I am. I would be way more excited about it if it was coming out on Vita. I don't know if
is it PC only?
I think
I know it's on Steam.
I don't know. See, that's the thing is I don't know what platforms it's coming out on. I'd love. See, the thing about indie games, and especially like stuff like Undertale, I would fucking kill for the opportunity to play that on my Vita. I have a tough time sitting down and playing it on my PC.
Yeah.
You know, when I sit down in front of my PC, I'm like, I want to play an MMO. I want to play, something that my graphics card can really pound on. You know, like that. That to me is what I want out of a PC experience, or what I expect when I sit down in front of my PC. That's not to take away anything from Undertale, and I know it's a great game. Everything I've heard about it tells me that it's a great game. I haven't played it because I really feel like the experience would be better on a handheld, and I've sort of been holding out hope for it. And if it never happens, I probably will end up playing it on PC.
It's never gonna happen.
I know it's never gonna happen, and actually the errors and stuff like that is pretty much.
I will never, ever, ever touch Undertale.
That's terrible.
But that's why. Because of how it makes him feel, because how it's going to make people in the chat feel.
Well, but the other thing is I mean, all of these sort of like indie games or lo-fi games, sprite-based games, I really feel like they're missing an opportunity on hardware like the Vita. Some of them have taken the opportunity and they've been great. Not Retro City Rampage. What's the other one that's sort of like that?
Miami Vice.
No, Hotline Miami.
That's what I meant. Yeah, Hotline Miami. Miami Vice.
That is. Dude, I've plugged hours into that on my Vita, and it's a great experience on the Vita. Would never play that on my PC, ever, in a million years. So, if more... I really hope that more games, and especially AAA studios that are developing stuff like that, because I Am Setsuna is coming out of Square Enix, I'm pretty sure.
I am actually surprised by the fact that there are a lot of games, like you said, sprite-based ones. When I'm like going through on my Steam queue list and adding stuff to my wish list or saying not interested, sprite-based games a lot of the times are an absolute just like no for me. But at the same time, there are certain
child.
Like but at the same time, some of the ones that I immediately gravitate to are like sprite-based JRPGs of yore.
Yes,
like I Am Setsuna, for example. I would play that on a PC.
Yeah,
being able to play that like while simultaneously like watching Netflix or porn or something, like doing other things as I play it. That's one of the things that I've been yearning for the most, is a game that I am able to play that I don't have to give 100% focused attention to. You look away for a second while you're playing.
You know what's good for
Overwatch? What?
You know what's good for that?
What?
Turn-based role-playing games.
Oh, kind of like the game that I'm playing right now that I'm having a lot of fun with. Final Fantasy X? Yeah, maybe there is something to be said about turn-based gaming, Nika.
Maybe there is.
I believe I've heard a rumor that turn-based role-playing games are dead and that no one would play them
Really?
anymore.
Who'd you hear that from?
I can't remember, but the scuttlebutt says that they are dead. Confirm/deny?
I bet it was a girl.
Okay, all right. Hang on. I just want to. I did look up I Am Setsuna while we were sitting here. It is confirmed for PlayStation 4 and PC. It does list PlayStation Vita, although I believe that it's only listed in for PlayStation Vita in Japan currently.
Is it Square Enix though?
It is Square Enix, so there is a good chance that they'll bring it over to the US if it sells well. I will definitely buy this for PlayStation 4.
Maybe this is the test for if they're going to remake Chrono Trigger.
I like the fact that it's a completely separate game.
Well, yeah, obviously.
And yeah, so and also that comes out on July 19th.
That's soon.
That's very soon.
So you guys go take a look at my Steam wish list.
Yeah. So
and toss it my way.
I am pretty excited to end up playing that finally. So yeah, and then what companies are you excited to hear from at E3? Because there's a couple of different ways that we get to interact with companies. There's their booth showings.
I'm sorry. Apple Nectar, shut the fuck up. Kingdom Hearts MMO. I'm
Boo.
banning you.
Boo. So there's a couple of ways that we interact with game companies at E3. Of course, the primary being, being at the showroom floor, at the booths themselves, being able to try hands-on demos. But then the ones that everyone gets access to, and that oftentimes get the most hype, are the big stage presentations. Of course, we see those from the big three: Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony. But we've also got presentations coming from Ubisoft, Bethesda, and a few others. I feel like
Rockstar?
there were. I don't remember. I'll look it up.
So.
I'll look it up here in a second. But what companies are you excited to hear from the most?
Well, we're supposed to be getting Andromeda in 2017, so I'm hoping that we actually see something real, something tangible of the game itself, because up till now it's been screenshots of like landscapes, and then there's that trailer of someone in the N7 suit getting out of a cockpit and walking towards the camera,
right,
and looking out over a landscape. There hasn't actually been anything concrete to let us know at all what this game is going to be like, and because it has none of the original BioWare team that was on any of the original Mass Effects, I could honestly go either way on it. It could be that I might end up not buying this at all if it looks
interesting.
Yeah. So
the company that I was trying to think of that I couldn't name was EA. So we'll have presentations starting off on the 12th from EA at 1 p.m. Bethesda will also be presenting on the 12th at 7 p.m. On the 13th, we'll see presentations from Microsoft, Ubisoft, and Sony. And closing out the weekend on Sunday, we'll see a presentation from Nintendo starting at 9 a.m. So those are the those are the big press conferences. The chat lit up. I saw that they're excited for Atlas to be announcing details for Persona 5. Obviously, Atlas not taking the stage, but we do see smaller developers taking the stage with as a part of one of the big three. So we will see obviously statements from Square Enix. Hopefully, we'll see someone from Atlas come out and say something.
People are also saying CD Projekt Red, which that's the Witcher people.
That
right?
is the Witcher.
Yeah, their new one, Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, they're working on a whole new IP, so we'll be excited to see anything about that. I mean, I'll be surprised to see anything in terms of gameplay. I would expect to see much more of just a teaser trailer.
Apple, the last time that Square mentioned that they were working on an MMO that was not FF related, it was FF14. Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah. So FF16 confirmed.
Okay. Yay.
Elder Scrolls. We know that there's another Elder Scrolls in work or in the works.
There's
right?
always an Elder Scrolls in the.
On one of the recent shows, we talked about a headline that mentioned it, didn't we?
Did we? I don't think we did.
In the fact that I think it was we thought that was maybe taking us back someplace.
No. The headline that we had was that there was footage leaked of a PSP title that took us to multiple regions.
I gotcha.
So no, I don't think that's going to be it. So okay, yeah, an Elder Scrolls announcement. Bethesda's going to be making a significant showing. We did just get an entry into the Fallout franchise. I think it would be safe to say that we're due for another Elder Scrolls title.
Well, yeah. Plus, since you brought up the Fallout thing as well, the DLC we've gotten so far has been huge.
Awesome.
And it's just within the first...
have you played Far Harbor?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Not yet. But I mean, huge. And it's still within the first 5 or 6 months that it's been released. And obviously when it comes to DLC, these companies support these games for several years. So while Fallout may not necessarily be a big speaking point of them, it would be cool to see more of their DLC plans announced.
But the thing is that we already know how, there's not much more DLC planned for Fallout 4.
That they've spoke of.
No, they have said that there's only going to be so much for Fallout 4.
Right.
So, I mean...
Well, remember, they're making people pay $60 for it, and the current combined total of all three is $50.
Right. So, I mean...
They have to at least have another 3 planned.
But there's got to be something else.
Oh no, I'm sure. Yeah, but
they're doing an entire stage presentation. So
yeah, I'm gonna put my money on Elder Scrolls then.
Elder Scrolls. So where do we? Does anyone want to take bets on where we're going this time?
I don't know enough about the land masses and the lore to do that.
Midgard.
Skyrim was the first one that I really got into, and that was how many years ago now?
6.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Asgard?
Shut up.
I mean, we've been to.
Is that the entire map, like the world?
Yeah. So we've been to Cyrodiil. We've been to
Hammerfall, right?
No, we haven't been to
That was
Hammerfall.
one of like the original ones.
No. Can you actually get on a goddamn microphone, please? Jesus.
Trying to see the
This
map.
is a fucking radio show, and you're just talking into fucking.
They can hear me.
You can, and yet you've got 2 screens in front of you that you could just pull this up on, and you
Nah, I
just
wouldn't
choose
know
not
how.
to.
Tablets are dumb.
I mean, we've never seen anything of any of these southern continents. The Valenwood, elsewhere, Black Marsh.
I don't want to go to a.
Oh, let's go to
fucking
Black Marsh.
forest.
That sounds really cool.
It does actually.
Black Marsh.
might be
Black Marsh
cool.
is the Argonian homeland.
Oh, never mind. I hate those
Argonian?
guys. They're lizard people.
Elsewhere is the Khajiit homeland. We've
What's
seen.
the island over there?
Khajiit has wares for you?
Well, the Somerset Isles we actually did visit we visited that in the DLC for Oblivion. Hammerfell, I take that back. We have seen that in, we saw it in Arena. We've seen technically everywhere in Arena, but we also did see it in the Elder Scrolls spin-off game. There was like an adventure type title that was set in Hammerfell that wasn't any good and nobody thinks about. So
you've already been this. We don't need to go
Dusty
back there.
Demon Ninja says Hammerfell was the original one, you filthy casual. Well, then, maybe it's time to make a return, because Hammerfell and I think High Rock are 2 that interest me the most, just based on names.
High Rock was the second game. That was Daggerfell.
Oh, well, see, there you go. Let's go back to our roots.
But I would like to, like High Rock, I wouldn't mind revisiting. Morrowind, we only adventured on Vardenfell. We never adventured on the Morrowind mainland. And only some of these areas we've seen fleshed out in the in Elder Scrolls Online. I don't think we've seen Valenwood, Elsewhere, or Black Marsh even represented in Elder Scrolls Online. So I feel like those are the most the most ripe areas
God,
to
I hate the lizard people.
to go.
They're so ugly.
To go to.
Isn't there a cat person?
Yes, that's the Khajiit. They're ugly too.
And they're from Elsewhere.
Let's go to Elsewhere?
Yeah.
That's the name of the place? Isn't that somewhere else?
Elsewhere.
Somewhere else.
No, Elsewhere.
Elsewhere?
Elsewhere.
Where else could they be from?
There's a Y in there too.
There's a Y?
ELSWEYR.
Why would there be a Y?
Because that's how it's spelled. Okay.
That was a good try.
That ran out of steam. Anyway, so I don't know. I would even love to see one set in Hammerfell, although Hammerfell is mostly a desert continent, and I feel like that would also get boring.
Yeah.
So Elsewhere seems like a pretty good guess. Valenwood, which is I think the home of the High Elves, would also be I think a pretty awesome place to visit. So I'm very interested in the idea of a new Elder Scrolls game, and Bethesda making such a huge showing. I think that is a pretty good guess. Is there anything else that you guys would think Bethesda would have in the works that they could surprise us with?
Well,
unless it's a new IP, what else do they got?
If they are going to come out with new Fallout 4 content, they might give us a sneak peek and say it comes out around Christmas. I mean, that would boost sales around that time.
Yeah, but again, it's not going to be like their main reason for going up there.
Not true.
Yeah. Main reason's got to be Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
That's where I put my money.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see something new in development from Bethesda. We haven't seen something new from them since they acquired the Fallout franchise. So.
What if they add a new Wolfenstein game? That'd go well with the new Doom game. And they could combine the two. It'd be like Doom versus Wolfenstein.
Can we start buying something that we can throw at him when he makes comments like this?
Hang on. Did Bethesda buy id? Is that where id ended up? I can't remember.
Oh, I have no idea, man. I don't remember.
Because that joke may have validity.
What?
Your joke might have actually been a real thing.
What do you mean?
Yeah, its parent organization is ZeniMax.
Wow.
Okay. I didn't get that joke because I didn't realize that ZeniMax had bought id.
Because it was supposed to be a joke. It was supposed to be him being an idiot troll.
No, I looked up Bethesda games on Google, and Wolfenstein: The New Order was there for 2014, so I just combined the two.
Oh.
See, I'm smarter than I look
Gotcha.
sometimes.
Let's go to our phone lines here. We're gonna talk to Evil Lives. What's going on, Evil? How you doing? Thanks for calling Final Encounter Cast.
Hey, I just wanted to give you a special cold water there. Todd Howard has already said that we're not going to hear anything for Elder Scrolls for a while.
Really? So what do you think that they're going to go up there and announce? I mean, they're doing a keynote speech.
Well, they have a lot of properties that they haven't done anything with. They own Prey, which for a while, remember, they were working on Prey 2 for a while, and it died.
No. Yeah. Did you play the original Prey?
Yeah, I wasn't happy with it.
Nobody was. That was an abysmal game.
It is the age of remakes.
Ooh.
I mean, they do have Dishonored 2. I mean, they're trying to push that.
Okay. All right. That's a property that I forgot.
Yep.
But we've already seen trailers for this at either another game show or last year's E3.
So it kind of seems like doing it again would be a little bit of a waste of potential.
No, I think they'll show off gameplay. But am I wrong, or am I imagining or mixing up with Assassin's Creed that there is a female protagonist for the second Dishonored?
There is.
Yes. Okay. Good. All right. I'm not crazy, and I am remembering that. Okay. So yeah, we could see Dishonored from them. What else do they have?
Bethesda themselves, like the development studio, really only has Fallout and the Elder Scrolls games.
Yeah. And then
that's all they've made for the last 20 years.
And they've absorbed some other studios like id. Who else have they absorbed? Anyone else?
Arcane Studios, who makes Dishonored.
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of limits, unless it's a new IP that really limits what they're going to show off.
They also own that company that the Resident Evil creator was in. I can't remember.
Yeah, they made that. What is it? What is that game? I remember a lot of people talking about it, and then nobody talking about it after it came out.
It wasn't very good.
Spore.
No, it was like, what is it?
It's EA.
What is? I don't remember that game. But it was like it was trying to be one of the horror titles and continue on in the vein of Resident Evil, do a lot of body horror type stuff, and it was not very good. The Evil Inside?
Evil Within?
Evil Within, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Red XO.
Okay, so we could see an IP from them. I still, even though they've denied Elder Scrolls, I just don't know how they'll be able to fill up time without.
Yeah, I'm still putting my money on it.
Yeah. We'll see.
I mean, it also goes against their tradition. Since Morrowind, they've followed the tradition of they announce a game and they release it in 6 months. I mean, they've done it with Fallout 3 and pretty much everything.
All right, maybe it's ready.
I mean, it's been a while since Skyrim, and we know that they
just because they say that they don't have anything planned, and then if they come out and announce it, hype's gonna explode.
Yeah. I mean that it's a way to tamp down the hype.
They could also do what they did with New Vegas and announce another company's gonna be making a Fallout game.
You know what? New Vegas did come pretty closely on the heels.
You're right.
Of 3.
You're right. They could be just repurposing the engine for that.
Yeah,
it was 2 years later.
Yeah, maybe not necessarily more DLC for Fallout 4, but what if they came out with some type of add-on?
You know what? Chris is right. Fallout came out this fucking year.
I know.
Would be really soon.
I know.
That would be almost too soon. I would think.
I agree.
Anyway, Evil, thanks for the call, man. We appreciate the perspective and the reminder of what IPs Bethesda owns. So appreciate the call. If you want to call Final Encounter Cast, that's Final Encounter Cast on Skype, 810-207-1764. What do you want to see at E3? What are your big hopes and dreams for the future of video gaming? Do you guys have any? I don't know. Do you guys have any standout announcements from E3s in the past that
do we want to talk about like favorite E3 moments?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna surprise everybody here.
Okay.
Now I would like to point out that favorite. Whoa! I am holy
neon.
Shit.
Whoa!
What happened? I am like Zeusing over here. I don't know how to fix this. All right. I would like to start this out by saying that favorite doesn't necessarily mean best. That's what I'm looking forward to, but the announcement that I think caused the most
Turmoil.
The most
Emotion.
well, okay, that's part of it, but reaction, just the most reaction.
Okay.
Gizma.
The Final Fantasy VII announcement last year. That was so huge. Like, I remember I was in playing, I think, just FF14, and I think it was Chris was the one who came in and was like, "Oh, do you see?"
I wanted to be your first.
And like they were there, and right away there were like so many reaction videos, and
Bethesda is a smaller studio that takes their time with games. We are about 4 to 5 years for S6.
Well, we'll see. We'll see, Escape Death.
We shall see.
yeah. So like, I mean, it was everywhere, and there was part of me that knew, like, look at all this hype. Come on, you should be hyped too. But my brain was like, brain and heart was like, no. And there's so much internal struggle and conflict
And turmoil.
and turmoil. Yes, fine, turmoil. I was
And emotion?
I was Anakin standing on the precipice of the dark side. Okay, and I had to fight against it.
the chosen one!
So yeah, if I had to pick,
You'll not take her from me.
I've got the high ground! Don't forget I have the high ground!
So if I had to pick a moment that stands out in my mind from all E3's past, it was the fact that Final Fantasy VII was announced as a remake.
I feel like-
after so many years of Square Enix saying, no,
I feel
we're not
like
gonna do it."
that you're just cherry picking because it's the only one you remember.
No, because when you had actually first was like, hey, maybe we should do this, favorite moments.
Yeah.
That was the first thing that popped in my head, but I'm like, oh, but was that actually announced at E3? And it wasn't until Kooky was kind enough to actually.
My favorite E3 moment was when the Microsoft guy came out with the Halo 3 tattoo.
Okay.
That was my favorite E3 moment because it was like, look at this fucking dumbass. He's gonna have to live with this tattoo. But Steve, I think his name's Steve Ballmer. That guy, what a fucking moron. And every time he would come out on stage, he would be like, oh. It was like watching George W. Bush speak. You know, like, what is he going to fuck up this time? And he would just get over-enthused about shit. And, yeah, his big boneheaded movie came out with a Halo 3 tattoo. And just everyone's reaction was like, why?
I don't think I remember seeing that. Where was the tattoo at?
It was like on his arm.
So what? He just walked onto the stage and was like, "Hey guys!"
Rolled up his sleeves. Let's get
Check
down
this
to
out.
business.
Hey, ladies.
And why would it? Like, what was the tattoo of? It was like
It was the logo.
The logo that said Halo 3. Because you know they're gonna add more Halos.
Maybe it wasn't Steve Ballmer. Who was it? Who got the Halo tattoo to reveal?
Like, I could see maybe the Halo logo, but Halo 3 logo. How
Go
low can he go?
Go low.
It was Peter Moore that got the tattoo. I think that's... Yeah, that's it. It was in 2004 that this happened. Let me see. We've even got the video.
Oh, good.
52.
Oh, good.
After a long fight, our colonial defense has failed,
Uh-oh.
and the Covenant have made their way to Earth.
You fucking nerd.
Today's mission takes place 20 clicks north of the Covenant's primary point of incursion.
This hurts
in
me.
an abandoned township.
It's like
on the coast
role-playing.
of
He's
East
fucking
Africa.
role-playing. That's what he's doing right now. Fucking Halo 3. Get out of here with the
The
shit.
handful
All
of
right,
Marines
so
who
yeah, I
survived
mean,
the
there
Covenant
you've got
assault
the
displaced
basic
hell on Earth.
presentation there.
We
Hang on,
call
let me see if
it
I could find the part with the tattoo. 'Cause the tattoo was silly.
Was it a bad tattoo?
No,
too?
what it was, he had the release date. That's what it was. The release date.
There's no way that tattoo was real then.
I want to say that it was.
Why would you tattoo the release date on
Was it
you?
the release? God, no.
Did
See,
he lose like an office bet or something?
Did somebody raise $5,000 before him?
yeah, because clearly, yeah.
The way that dude's standing, I feel like it's not actually on his arm, it's on his chest, and you're just gonna rip his shirt off.
Busting
all
ass
right,
now
here
to finish
it is.
Halo
This is
and make
after
it
they've
great.
shown
We're
off the
really
game.
Excited to get it into your guys' hands, and the good news is, we're pretty damn close. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, Joe. Love you too, man. It's in stone. Well, actually, That's not the only place it's in. Jenny was checking out my guns earlier on when we were on video chat there. And
See how stupid this is. It's my favorite moment.
But now I can tell you. So I go out with the sales guys last Saturday night. You know how
just Saturday night. He just said it.
Well, after a number of drinks, I dropped the bomb on them. Said, guys, we got a release date on Halo 2. And we
That's what I. Okay, all right. At least I am remembering this at least somewhat well.
I believe that the day I tattooed that on my arm. Skeptical bunch. Well, fellas, I got your release date.
Terrible.
Right here.
Terrible. It's is that bad?
It's like you got it from the back alley of some place.
Wow.
Isn't that terrible?
It's a terrible way to announce that.
And yes, that is 2004.
I would have been like, look under your seats for the release date. But
Right,
then
guys.
every single seat has a different date on it.
Look at this tattoo on my arm.
Oh God. Yeah.
It's Sharpie.
Well, and now I remember why I thought it was Steve Ballmer, because that guy's a fucking idiot.
You know what?
Anyway.
I bet it's just henna, that fucking poser.
Yeah, it does. Even in the video, it looks like Penn. So anyway, that's that. I think that's among one of my favorite E3 moments. Or the one that you mentioned earlier, when Sony would just came up
stomping Microsoft
again and again and again, and it was like they had tailor-made their program to respond to Microsoft, which was the best thing.
Well, because it even surprised me because, the months leading up to it, they're like, no backwards compatibility, none of this, none of this, none of this. And it's like they were both on the same page, and then they finally get there, and Sony's like, oh, you thought we were telling the truth? Fuck you guys.
Yeah, it was a pretty good one. How about you, Chris? Favorite Nintendo E3 moments?
Well,
He doesn't know. He doesn't know at all.
it's not like a really specific time, but basically I remember that there was
Virtual Boy.
There was one E3 where I was so
Game Boy
excited
Color.
because everyone was just saying how Nintendo actually won E3, and that was unheard of for me before. So like,
What year was that?
2014, apparently.
What?
I don't know. I mean, I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember any of the games.
Was that the year that only Nintendo showed up to E3?
It might have been.
I don't.
No, I feel like it.
So
I feel
what
like
happened in
hold on, no.
2014?
Hold on. I feel like it had to happen sometime either in college or high school, because
Do you know what they won with?
no, it's just like a whole bunch of new IP, or not new IPs, but old IPs coming back, like the Donkey Kong.
I remember
Freeze.
this. This was when they made the
tropical thing.
they made a big nostalgia play and brought back a lot of like Kid Icarus was in there.
Yes.
And
And like new Super Mario
I don't think
Brothers.
I think 2014 is
No, that's completely wrong.
Was this when Melee came out then?
I think it might
have been around that time. Yeah.
Yeah,
It may-
because it would have been the best time to reintroduce a lot of them. 'cause,
The
I mean,
Wii.
No, it had to be around Brawl.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant.
Brawl, okay,
yes,
all
yeah,
right,
because
yeah.
they had Kid Icarus and Brawl,
Yes,
right? And they had
right.
a lot of those a lot of
The old Nintendo,
Yeah.
like from the actual Nintendo, come back and stuff. And that's like the only time I ever like heard people online saying how Nintendo actually won E3. So that's the only E3 moment I have, is when Nintendo actually won, and it was kind of pretty much consensus on the internet that Nintendo won once.
Now, was it actual consensus, or was the bubble just more vocal than the rest of the internet?
It was pretty consensus, like around like GameStop and IGN, or GameSpot, sorry.
Really? I mean, I do see this article that Kooky linked in the chat, and I don't know
Why Nintendo won
That's
E3.
2014.
Yeah, it this does
When
cite
did Brawl come out?
2014, and I just don't.
You don't see anything in there that's really...
No, I really don't. But I do remember what you're talking about, Chris. I do remember that there was a year where Nintendo played hard to the nostalgia crowd, and a lot of people walked away saying that Nintendo had the strongest showing. And I want to say that it was in college. I want to say that that was solidly in college when that happened, because I do remember this.
2005?
That sounds way more dead on than 2014.
Looks like there was also some kind of Metroid game that came out too. Let me see. Hold on.
Well, yeah, the Metroid game Unseen, unplayed,
Are you sure? Because there are a lot of stuff mentioned in this article that have done well. I mean, Splatoon, that had the video game
that's
rewards.
not to, dude. It's not to take anything
This
away
just
from
isn't the one that you were
Nintendo.
thinking about.
Yeah, I know
Gotcha.
I know specifically what Chris is talking about, and
Okay.
yeah, this is it's different. It was way earlier, and it was definitely when we were in college.
Our first look at the revolution.
Oh no.
Yeah.
The revolution.
Gosh.
Oh, codename Dolphin. Anyway,